Hey there, guys. It's Mia here. I am so excited. I'm super excited to be here tonight. I'm going to share very simply how to build a giant life and a giant business. I'm Mia Redrick. I am the mom strategist, business and life coach. I got started my company over 18 years ago, and I simply made the decision to go to work as myself. And maybe you've said the same thing. You've been trying to figure out how can you take your soft skills, what you're doing in your life that you're sharing with other people exceptionally well. How can you turn that into a business? Or how can you take what you're doing professionally, your expertise, your education, your experience, and package your know-how into a high ticket offering that would allow you to create an amazing business from the comfort of your home? That was the thought I had 18 years ago. And I didn't know how to do that. So my very first stop, I went to a small business resource center in my town. And I was actually told by the director of the small business resource center that my idea, mom coaching, did not make any sense and that no one would ever pay me to do what I've done today. Fast forward, I've had the opportunity to coach thousands, literally thousands of women all around the world, professionals, moms, homeschoolers, women who are smart, sharp PhDs, MDs, JDs, you name it. Okay. And I've been able to do it just standing on my gifts and my talents, being myself. And so I always like to share this with you because maybe right now you're not certain how you can take what you've been doing already, the results that you naturally create, and how to package that into a sustainable business that would allow you to get free and create a profitable business that creates financial security for your family. But I'm here for it. So tonight I'm going to teach on how to build a giant life and business. It's what I've done. And not only what I've done, but it's also what I teach my clients to do. I transfer what I've done to my clients step by step, because if they know what I do, they can do what I do, and they have done it over and over again. So I would say that as a result of running this business, one of the greatest wins for me has been able to give my kids the gift of time, meaning, hey there, Audra, because I'm free, I've been able to show up for every single thing in their world, in their life. Now, Audra, tonight, my family, for 3 hours, we watched home videos that my husband had. He had old videos that we had upgraded to digital. He digitized them. He sent it somewhere. And we watched for 3 hours the kind of time, investment, and care, hey, Sherry, in our family. And one of the things that came back to me was like, wow, none of these things would have been possible without the gift of time, without building a business that was profitable and that also had the right models around time that would allow me to show up in the lives of my kids. Listen, some of you guys might say, I'm yawning already. I get it. But if you're into freedom and you want to know how to build a business to not only make money, but to build a structure that allows for freedom so that quality time happens with your family, you're in the right place right now, okay? And I would say that's probably been the greatest gift to me, is being able to be the mom that's seen everything. I've been at every game. I've done everything. We've done everything with our kids 100%. My husband and I have been full-time entrepreneurs for over a decade. Our children have never seen us work a job, a job. They're 15, they're 19 and 22 years old. And I consider that a tremendous success. My only goal is to transfer forward what I know how to do to other women who are ready. You're like ready. You know that you're smart and you're sharp. There's more for you. And you just need a structure to know how to do this yourself. I think the other thing that, to me, building this business has meant tremendously to me is when my husband developed kidney disease 9-10 years ago and went on dialysis. One of the blessings was that we had the opportunity to hire a private physician for him so he could get elevated care. And I know that a lot of times you hear people talking about money for the sake of money, but the fact of the matter is I was able to stand in the gap for my family because I had built a business that was truly profitable. My husband didn't have to focus on going back to work. He could rest. He could rest. He could heal. He could do what he needed to do during a time that was really important. And I think that that's one of the gifts of building a really solid business. Okay. Hear me on this and hear my heart on this. My husband developed, got a kidney transplant, I guess about 5 years ago. And when he did, again, he healed beautifully and is doing amazingly well. And I believe it is because we live a life where money is not a concern, where stress was not a factor. He didn't have to rush off to go back to work or to earn. I wasn't codependent on him, and he didn't have to rush his healing. So he could really, really stand in the kind of care he needed. And I know that many of you guys hear what I'm saying here. But I would say for myself, running a business, Renee, you ready? Okay. Renee is my middle name. So I love that name. I would say that the other thing to me that this business has meant is the freedom that I've created for myself is unmatched, literally unmatched. It's when I decided to grow this business, I needed to get myself free. See, that was the one thing that no one could do for me. I knew I could not work 40 to 50 years for someone else or longer at 40 to 70 hours a week. And I know many people trade off. They love what they do. I love what I was doing, but I just knew there was more. I didn't want my job telling me when I could work or when I couldn't work or when I could see my kids' activities or not. I didn't want to have to sell out to that kind of life. For me, that's what it would have felt like. And if you like what you're doing, I get it. But for me, I liked what I was doing, but not enough. I just felt I was smart enough based on what I was doing to do my own thing. And if that's you, you're in the right place tonight. All right. So tonight I'm going to talk about right now how to build an amazing giant life and business. Now, I think that one of the things you're going to find, I'm just going to have a conversation with you. I've got a few notes, but I'm going to speak from my heart because what I know is true is that if you step into what I'm talking about right now, that next year will be like a year you cannot imagine, literally, okay? And I'm not hyping you on this. I'm not making you any promises. I'm not making any guarantees. But what I know for sure is that because I made a decision to be the giant in my own life, I changed my life. And I believe that any single person can do exactly the same. I watch my clients do exactly the same because I share with them how to do it. All right. And I'm going to share that with you tonight as well. So I'm going to read a couple of comments. Sherry says, hi. Renee says, I am so ready. Let me just share that. I am so ready. I am so ready. And your residence writes, she writes, so tell us the secret. And Sherry writes, Sherry, that's a cute picture. I'm ready for change. I'm about to drive 9 hours for Lyft tonight, and I have a full-time job during the week. I'm ready for sleep and for freedom. I think that one of the things you'll find as a result of what I will share tonight is that it's going to require you to lean into the tallest part of who you are. All right. Okay. So I'm going to jump in. If you're ready, I am ready. Okay. And so I decided to do this live tonight because probably the biggest question that I get is a lot of my clients, they call themselves giants. And many of you guys who follow me know I only work with giants. And so sometimes the question becomes that we get every week is, well, what are giants? Like, do I qualify as a giant? Or, what do you mean by a giant? So I thought that that would be a really great place for me to start. What I learned having coached thousands of women, literally around the world, is that if you want to change your life, you don't change your life because you're wishing and you're hoping. You change your life because you make a decision to step into a higher version of yourself. You make a decision to change the kind of actions, to change the intentions, and to change the activity that will align with the kind of results that you desire. Now, the truth of the matter is that so many people, Judy, when they first get started in business or have the thought of running a business, is that they're so connected to what they don't have that they're not able to see the possibilities that exist for them. And so what I decided in my own life was that I only wanted to talk to women, and this is true today, who have decided that, what happened to you happened for you. and that you get to stand on the shoulders of the things that didn't work, the investments that you made that they haven't quite turned out like you thought, the business that you started that isn't where you want it to be, the career that you have that you love that isn't giving you the time freedom, but that you don't get to look at those things as something that happened to you or that's kept you back or from being amazing. But instead you say, as a result of having these tools in my toolbox, I am now ready to leverage it. And I will tell you that giants truly think differently about the things that have happened in the world. My story was that I, as a mom, had made the decision I wanted to take my motherhood skills and I wanted to figure out how to package what I knew how to do in terms of helping a mom systematize, find self-care systems for herself, no matter what was going on in the world, as well as I had this great corporate background that I wanted to use. And I didn't whine about, like, I'm a mom and nobody wants to work with me as a mom or nobody wants to pay me. I decided to say, how can I take what I know how to do and find the market and package what I'm doing at the highest level so that I can deliver tremendous value to people who really need what I have? And how do I best do that? And in asking that question, which was a powerful question, I changed my whole life and I changed the lives of many other people. So if you're that person right now, as you're listening to this message, you're saying, I want to take what I'm doing and I want to figure out how to package what I'm doing in a way that I can create real results for others, or I create real results right now for others, but I want to do it differently. I'm talking to you. So if you want to create giant results, here's the first thing I want you to think about as it relates to your life. And number one is you want to think about building a business around your life. And then I'm going to explain to you the difference. So many people, when they go into business, they think about starting a business and building their life around their business. But to me, if you want to have a giant life, one of the things that's really important is understanding, why are you going in business to begin with, right? Like, literally, are you going into business to create greater freedom, to be able to spend more time with your family, right? Like to have more downtime, to be able to read that book, to be able to write your book. And so many people never ask that question because their primary focus is only on, like, sort of money, money, money. I'm going to start this business. And they don't build their business properly with the right models and intention. And I've seen this over and over again and helped many people restructure their models, because what they thought would make them happy in their business, maybe they're making money in their business, but the model doesn't give them any time. And I want you to know that you can have both. To me, a giant life means that you build your business around your life. It means that your family is not second fiddle to the success that you desire. It means that you have quality time to enjoy and experience your life. It means that your family and your business, okay, it's like God, family, business, are in the proper priority. Right. And I think a lot of people think that's the case, but it's not the case. So that's the first thing to me in terms of building a giant life, is understanding how to build your business around your life. When I got started in my company, that was one of the biggest questions that I asked myself, was like, how do I want to live? Literally. Like, how do I want to live in my life in this business? If I had to do what I'm doing every single day for the next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, how do I want to live? All right. Number two, accept that your natural gifts and talents are enough to sustain success, security, and wealth, right? Because a lot of people don't believe, when they're looking to step into their next level, that you already have what you need to sustain the security, the success, and the wealth that you desire. And these are all my opinions. One of the things that I started to do was not look outside of myself for the answer, but know that the answer was already inside of me. It was something I had already done. It was advice I was already giving. It was things that I was already doing, right? It was the validation often had already come from people either calling me in my personal life saying, you mentioned this and it really changed my life. You organized this and it really made a difference for me. Or at work, it was a reflection of either promotions or recommendations or sometimes, just people coming back and saying, wow, at that meeting, what you said really opened that up for me. I loved it. And I started to be able to receive the feedback, the positivity from others. Now, I want you to think about yourself as I share this right now. Likely, as you've gone through your life, you have had feedback. People have told you already, like what you're saying to me or what you did here in this meeting has made a difference. And a lot of times when we are in a state where we can accept and receive that feedback, we're like, oh, thank you. And we just kind of mute it. But likely that is the thing that you're meant to do more of. Life provides clues. And if you want to live a giant life, one of the things that's important is to be able to receive what those clues are. Is this making sense? I want to pause for a minute. If this is making sense, I want you to write, this is making sense. Now, tonight, I wanted to come on here and talk about if you want to have a giant life and a giant business. These are the elements that I think are super important. And it's funny because they're so important that it's easy to miss because we're used to having people tell us that this is the secret. But there isn't just a secret. These are really simple things that you already possess that you could use right now that can make all the difference in your life and in your world. Okay. Thank you, Judy. Judy writes, yes, this is making sense. Thank you, Judy. I appreciate your feedback. Okay. Yes, this is making sense. Thank you so much. All right. So the other thing that I want you to think about is in your life is Eden is, are you standing as tall as possible? And let me explain what I mean. So Eden, okay, here's the deal. A lot of times in our lives, we know that there's something bigger for us. We know that there's a bigger way that we can live. We know that there's a greater purpose that we're meant to accomplish, but we still settle for that small place in our life sometimes because of fear, sometimes because of insecurity, sometimes because of our own doubt. It's just true, okay? So it's not that you're not capable. It's not that you're not confident because you see what you're doing in your work life. You see what's happening in your personal life. So you know that you're solid. It's just that you question whether you're ready to launch big. Will people be able to receive you standing on your own 2 feet, doing your thing, right? But one of the things that I've learned about having a giant life is that you've got to stand as tall as possible. So when I think about every single blessing that's happened, and when I think about the results that have occurred in my life and in my business, they've happened not because I've played a small game. They've happened because I've stood tall in my gifts, because I've decided that this is who I am. This is what I do. And these are the gifts that I have, and I'm going to share them. And my question to you is, are you sharing your gifts as tall as possible? Let me explain. So what if you were meant to share what you have with a CEO or a vice president or, a director of development or a producer or something like that, right? And instead of doing that, you always share what you have with the lowest common denominator instead of the highest, right? Is that perhaps why you're not creating the yield that you have in your life? And often that happens because we don't have the investment of accountability. If you have the right coaching, you have the right mentorship, they will hold you accountable to reaching high, standing tall in your possibility. The way that you create your results is getting around people who are result makers, okay? People who have possibility, not by hanging out with people who talk about what's not possible. All right, number 4, you need to associate with people that see possibility without limitation, all right? And so this is so complementary to what I just said. A lot of times, because of our own self-esteem, we won't pitch high. A lot of times we won't network with people our own ambition level and above. A lot of times we're not in masterminds with people who scare us because of the intimidation factor. But I will tell you that you have got to associate with people that see possibility without limitation. Because the moment that you hang out with people who might be well-meaning that say, how are you going to do that? How do you get to live that giant life? I've learned that for myself. Like I have people in my world who I love as friends and associates, but a lot of them over the years have not matched my ambition level. So I decided years ago that what I deserved was to hang out with people my own ambition level and above. And I'll tell you that it makes all the difference. Who do you share your big wins with? You know, people sometimes, if you have to hang around people who can only handle your success, your greatness, your wins to a certain point, then how do you build that culture for yourself of safety to play outside of the box? I'm asking you, I'm breaking this all the way down. There's one heart here, but I am going all in because it's so important. If you want to build a giant life, you got to have giant level association. And part of that is understanding and taking a stand that the people you associate with have to be people who do not have limitation around capacity. They want to see you win. Okay, they think outside of the box. I'm just telling you. All right, number 5. And if you want to have a giant life, one of the things that I think is super important is getting to a place where money is not a concern. So you're free to do what you love. So I meet so many people who money is a concern. Money is the only thing that they think about all the time. And they think about it in the sense of scarcity. And because of that, they never quite reach where they want to be because money is always a concern. They want to start a business because they just want to make money. Well, what if you didn't run your life based on scarcity or lack or what you don't have? What if instead you understood that knowing how to take your skills and the talents that are already inside of you and how to share those with other folks that create amazing results is the only thing that you need to focus on? I never think about money. Money is not a concern because if you know how to solve the problems of others, in my case, I know how to help any single person that's highly motivated, that implements, is action taker, smart, sharp, they believe in self-investment, how to take their knowledge and package it step by step into a high ticket offer that they can sell on and offline. And my only focus is on speaking to individuals like you right now with being able to do that. My focus is not on money. It's not on lack. It's not on myself. It is how do I take the gifts that I have and help other people solve the problems they have with what I know how to do. And I will tell you that if you focus on that, it will be a game changer for you. Eden writes, that's a great qualifier, your ambition level and above. Great shot and great earrings. Eden, the great earrings, okay? And Gretchen writes, hey, Gretchen, I am listening. Awesome. I'm so glad you're here as well. Okay, awesome. So tonight, what I wanted to talk about is how to build a giant life in business. And what I talked about so far, while it may sound super basic, this is everything, guys. This is how I live. You know, when I got started my business years ago, all I desired was freedom. I wanted to figure out how to replace the day job and how to be able to build a business that was financially secure, would have me financially secure, and that would give me the freedom that I desire. Today, I've been able to do exactly that. And I work from the comfort of my home. I'm in my home office right now. And one of the things that I love is that I've been able to be the kind of mom that I wanted to be and continue to do that. That I've been able to date my husband in the middle of the day, okay, because of the freedom. My husband's a full-time entrepreneur as well. And that I've been able to build a business where money is not a concern, that I can transfer my knowledge. You know, talent is not transferable, but technique is. I learned that from one of my mentors years ago, Joel. And I just want to say that's true. I could never moonwalk like Michael Jackson. He could have personally trained me. But the fact of the matter is, technique is transferable. And knowing how step by step to take your knowledge and package it at the highest level, that's a transferable thing. That's not something that's not available to you. Okay, now let's switch over to the business piece. How to build a giant business. Number one is, you guys need to get a notepad out for this, is you need to know how to value your knowledge. See, what you know is exceptionally valuable. Your background, your gift, your experience, the things you've gone through, the things you've been through, the pain you've overcome. And so none of that should be discounted ever. I meet so many people that have high level knowledge in their ability to create results for themselves and also for others that are underselling. They are bloggers, they are podcasters. They've been told to create a course, sell it for 27 bucks, 57 bucks, $150. And I want you to know this, and I'm shaking your shoulders right now. I hope you hear my heart. It is that if you want to have a giant business, you have to understand how to value the knowledge. And one of the biggest questions that people miss when they're offering what they're offering, when they're starting their businesses as coaches and consultants and trainers and speakers, is that they do not know how to value their knowledge. There she is. Hey, Lynn, good to see you here. I'm so glad that you're here. So important. Okay. See, people don't pay me based on a price. Never. They're not paying you based on a price. People pay me based on a transformation. See, if I can work with you over the course of 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and as a result of us working together, you figure out what you're meant to do for the rest of your life, it's very valuable. If I can show you how to take that knowledge and sell it also as a high ticket offering, who cares about the price? You know, just recently, one of my clients who came to my Giant Experience conference, Michelle, and if you're in my Mia Redrick Giant Life and Business private community, you've seen this. She posted 24 hours after leaving my retreat, she closed her first $15,000 deal. Yesterday, she posted, in addition to that, that was like in 24 hours, so a week later, 1 week later, 7 days later, she closed another 30,000, and she's got an opportunity for another 50,000 plus equity in a business. Never happened before she met me. Why did it happen? She didn't have to go back to school. She didn't have to do anything different. What she had to understand is how to value her knowledge. Okay. And when you understand that what you know is valuable, it makes all the difference. And I think so many people are walking around selling what they have at discount. They've been told by other people, like, look, start at 50 bucks and go to 100 bucks and go to $150. And there are people right now that will pay you high ticket, and they're not, because you don't know how to structure what you do at the highest level. Some of you guys need to write amen. Okay. It's true. You know, think about the last sales that you've requested or what you're selling. Likely you don't even know how to value all your education, all your experience, what your knowledge is, and you're getting paid in direct correlation to your beliefs, right? Maybe it's time to change those beliefs. Number 2, charging what you're worth. So one of the things I think is super important if you want to have a giant business, you have to know the formulas, the step-by-step of how to charge what you're worth. You know, one of my clients who came to the Giant Experience Conference in 4 days, Basaida, okay, and I think she signed up like 2 weeks ago, but she, in 4 days after coming to the retreat, she charged $2,500 for the very first time in her business for the exact same service she was charging $1,000 or $1,500 for. And you may say, Mia, that's not a big deal. Well, it is a big deal because, okay, she's charging 30 to 40% more than what she was charging. All right. Maybe what's in the way is that you're coaching yourself, maybe because you don't have accountability around your own value. That's part of what's in the way of you charging what you're worth. You know, if you knew what to do, you would do it. You would not even be here right now. You would be teaching other people how to stand in their value. Maybe the thing that's in the way is that you've never valued yourself enough to invest in yourself at the highest level. And I will tell you that likely if you're not charging what you're worth, it's because you've never invested in yourself, you know, in that same way. Breaking it down, right? So how do you ever explain the psychology to anyone else about why they need to pay you high ticket when you don't understand that investing in yourself as your number one asset is the most important thing? I'm just asking you. Number 3. Okay. You need to stop doing everything, like so many things, like all of those things, and you need to zone in to your genius. I think one of the things that gets in the way with people being able to build a giant business is that so many people, their expertise is doing too much and too many things. And I think one of the things that I'm really great at is helping my clients zone into their genius and figure out for themselves once and for all, what is the one thing that you want to lead with that creates an amazing business? It's interesting because during this time, during the pandemic, I've been sharing my memories, right? So all the Facebook memories over the last 10 years, et cetera. And one of the things that's been so interesting to me is seeing the consistency of what I've been offering and what I'm doing, which is what I'm doing exactly today. So there's no reason for me to look at that and say, okay, why am I successful today? Not from an ego perspective, because I'm doing the exact same thing, because I was able to go deeper on the things that I'm doing. I think that so many people are doing so many different things. Like they'll do something for 30 days and that doesn't work, or one customer will say no and they'll say that doesn't work, and they'll change all their marketing, they'll change your entire product, they'll change your core offers. I know I'm calling you out, okay? But maybe that's what's in the way. If you want to have a giant business, you need to know what to focus on first. Okay. What is the thing that you can do that can create the greatest result and transformation for others? And then you need to know how to package that into a high ticket offer. I see it all the time. People who don't know what it is and how to sell it. And then I help them over the course of 6 weeks, and they get clear and they package what they're doing into a high ticket offering. Okay. So if you want to have a giant business, that's important. Doing 10 things, offering 15 products, okay, is not what is going to help you hit your goals. Number 4, you got to lead from the front, okay? And so I talk about this all the time because I feel like, for those of you who are listening, I already know you're talented, you're gifted, that you do things outside of the box, you do things differently, you think differently, your talent, your gifts, your background, your expertise, your experience, you're a giant in every way. And sometimes being a giant can be a very lonely place if you're not vested in a community that are with people your own ambition level and above. You got to understand, you got to lead from the front. That means you got to show people how it's done. So if you've been looking for other people to do what you're doing and you don't see it, and that validation doesn't exist for you, and you're waiting for that to launch, you got to understand that we're waiting on you. Okay. When I got started years ago, there were no mom strategists, none, not one. There's me. That's it. I made it up. And I led with my brilliance, my talent, and my gift. And as a result of that, I've been able to be signed to Emmy nominated, nationally syndicated television shows, and to do corporate deals with Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies as the mom strategist, to be able to coach women all around the world, to host hundreds of self-care groups with corporate brands all around the country. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because if I were waiting for someone else, if I was Google searching my purpose, if I was looking to see what anybody else was doing, they weren't doing this. It was me. This is what I was meant to do. What are you meant to do? And that you're looking for that validation to the right and to the left, and you don't see it, but you won't step forward. Okay. If you want to have a giant business, we are waiting on you to lead from the front. Are you guys getting value? And number 5. You got to become comfortable with your uniqueness. I know, I already stepped on your fingers, and likely some of you are fanning right now, okay? But you have to become comfortable with your uniqueness. There's something, Ange, right, that is so powerful about being unique and different. But I get it, right? Like sometimes we see that part of ourselves and we're like, I'm extra, but I work with a lot of women who are extra. They're smart, they're sharp. They know the answer. Their hand is raised and has been for their entire life. You don't know why when you walk in the room, you make a difference. People are attracted to you. What you know is very powerful. You open your mouth and the world changes. Your world changes and the world of others, not from an ego perspective, but just with the gifting that's inside of you and that you've been entrusted with. You got to become comfortable with that uniqueness. If you want to have a giant business, you got to understand that one of the things that's going to allow you to be successful is that uniqueness. It is that giftedness. And I see so many people, because of their mindset of not being willing to accept that unique factor because they're wondering what someone's going to think. Or maybe you've been told that, being all of you is being too much or braggadocious or extra, all of the things that go along with those of us who have special skills and talents that you can't bottle up because every single time you're just being yourself, they just kind of fall out, right? So I want to tell you that there is a place for you, right? And that the world needs you to be all of you. And whatever you need to do to get around, whoever you need to get around so that you can sharpen that saw, those gifts, to be in community with other women who are like you. They exist. My clients call themselves giants. And I only work with giants because there are tons of places where you can go and deal with negativity or who you're not or have to qualify to fit in. But the reality is that that's not necessary in your growth, okay, in order for you to be successful. You're ready right now, right? And in being ready right now, it is time for you to become comfortable with your uniqueness. So I wanted to share with you today what I believe it takes to build a giant life and a giant business. And these are the things that I have done. This is my opinion. This is what I've done in my own business over the years. And I remember when I got started with running an unconventional business, is that I was like looking around for other people who were going to be doing what I was doing, and I just didn't see it until I began to make strategic investments with mentors who were living in a way that was congruent with the way I wanted to live. Fact. Okay. My very first thing I did was invest in a coach. And my coach, Terry, has been my coach for the last 18 years. Okay. It's the best investment I've ever made in my whole life. It's changed my life. And it wasn't a hype investment. It wasn't an emotional investment. It was the first time I saw for myself someone with integrity who was living in a way that was congruent to the way that I wanted to live, who was doing what I wanted to do that I didn't even know existed. And I knew her model was real. She was free. I saw her in her home. I saw her with the kind of lifestyle that I could relate to. She had a great relationship with her husband and continues to do so. And I was like, I want that. I want to be successful and have congruent and aligned relationships. I want to spend time with my family. There were tons of examples of people who had lots of success, but they just didn't have the quality of life that I desired. And they just couldn't mentor me at a high level. So that's what I have for you today. I would love to hear an aha or takeaway that you might have. Lynn kept the business notes, and she said, you need to know how to value your knowledge is super important, and also how to charge what you are worth. Thank you, Lynn, for putting that here. Equally, you need to stop doing everything and zone into your area of genius. I will tell you that's one of the things that gets in the way of having a giant business is trying to do too many things. Okay. And then she says, that is so true. You can be so much more productive by focusing. Absolutely. And that you have to lead from the front. You got to understand that we're waiting on you to be you. Okay. Not for you to be a smaller version of someone else. All right. There's more than enough room for you. Ange writes, so true to focus. Thanks to me, I'm finally focusing and implementing. I just saw the other day that today, right, that you just posted that you just completed your first module in your course. How cool is that? Amazing. And you're going to crush it this year because you are an implementer. Lynn writes, number 5, you have to become comfortable with your uniqueness, right? And not be a smaller version of someone else. Are there any other ahas or takeaways that you got as a result of being here today, right? Any other ahas or takeaways that you got as a result of being here today? I wanted to come on and just share this mindset that I have. I only work with giants. My clients call themselves giants. Those are the only kind of women that I know who are highly actionable, who want to take what they do, what they know, what they've been through, and the expertise, their education, their talent, and package that into an offering that can change the lives of others. And that they want a step-by-step system to be able to do that. That was me also, by the way, years ago. All right. Are there any other ahas or takeaways from those of you who are here today, I want to thank you for being here and for being a great and amazing audience, because that's super important. And I know that many of you got value being here, and that there's something, if there was something that one person got today as a result of hearing that the importance of how to grow an amazing business as a giant in your life and in your business, right? It's super important. So one of the things that I think is always important is to share my story with you, and that is super important to me. Gretchen writes, hey, that's a cute picture too. I like it from the side. I have to see my knowledge and expertise as world-class product. It is that. It is that. And it's funny because in working with women who are smart and sharp, a lot of times we become so dull to our brilliance. Like the things that we naturally know how to do, we take them for granted. And so because of it, we don't always know how to value it, how to package it, how to price it, how to position what we do, how to get in front of the right buyers. Think about the number of times that during this time that people have said because of COVID, people aren't buying, yet my clients see results over and over and over again. And you've seen also they're crushing it. Right? Why? Because they understand that none of that is real. Those are all beliefs based on esteem. And you get to choose the narrative, but your knowledge and experience is a world-class product properly packaged, people will buy. Ange writes, and surround yourself with giants always. And giants are people who are action takers. They're implementers. They're go-givers. They're people who want to see you win. They're people who have an appetite to be around other people who do great and amazing things. Understanding if you're in the company of other people who are doing things that you have not yet done, they will grow your comprehension just 30% just by hanging around them, literally. And so all of my clients are interviewed because we want to make sure they're fit. And I have an amazing community of women, and I just love it. And then Gretchen writes, and stop giving all of my gifts away for free. Isn't that the truth, right? The reason we give gifts away is because we don't know our value, right? Because we don't know our value, right? And a lot of times we do it sometimes too because we get confused around giving. Right. And receiving. So if your giving muscle is huge and your receiving muscle is small, is the reason why we overgive. I would say overgiving looks like you change the life of someone else's, and your life doesn't change very much. And so think about that. Like really think about it. Tennille writes, stop waiting for someone to show up and be you or what you need. You are who and what the world is waiting on. Isn't that so important, Tennille? Okay, like literally. So imagine that there's someone right now that needs you, Tennille. What a great name, Tennille Terry, okay? And they need you to show up. And so your only work is, who do I need to become so that I can step into that version to be able to share my gifts with the world? Is it that you need packaging? Is it that you need to know how to price what you're doing? Is it that you need to know how to sell what you're doing? Is it that you need to know how to market and position what you're doing? Is it that you need clarity around the gifts? But the question is, who does Tennille need to be able to receive all of that? And it's a lot, but it's very powerful, and it's something that's available to you. I want you to know this, and I want everybody to know this, that there is a layer of money around you that likely you can't even see. Okay. And it's funny. I mean, I'll use this as an example. And Ange, if this is not the truth, because Ange is one of my clients, please write it here. I have a client who I just mentioned who came to my Giant Experience Conference, which was last week through Friday. And within 24 hours of finishing the retreat, she closed the first 15,000. Within 7 days later, right, yesterday, she announced that she closed another 30,000 and another 50,000 she is negotiating. So that's like 50,000 plus 30,000, it's 80,000 plus 15. What's that? 80, 90, 95,000 plus equity in the business in 1 week. Okay. Now, she already had the talent. She already had the skill. She had a layer of money around her that she couldn't see. Okay. And once she was able to see her value with a step-by-step system, right? Then it really made the difference. It changed everything for her. Think about this as it relates to you, right? True. And there are more examples each time. There's always examples of, tons of people, Constance just closed a $25,000 contract within, what was it, 8 weeks of coming to the Giant Experience Conference. So for those of you who have said, okay, Mia, what's my next step? I just got here. I just met you. I'm so glad you're here. What's my next step? I think if you haven't seen my webinar, I'm going to post it here. And it's free. It's like 100% free. Okay. And that's a great place for you to start. Watch my webinar on how to leverage and package what you know. It's 45 minutes well spent. So, and if you watch a Q&A, which I do recommend, it's an hour and 2 minutes or something like that. But I suggest that you start there. And from there, you'll be able to make an informed choice as to whether or not you want to take a journey with me, or if I can support you in some way. Perfect. Okay. And that's why I come here, because 2021 can look completely different if you make different choices in owning these things that we talked about tonight. Okay. Before I sign off, are there any other questions or comments before I sign off? See, I cut my hair. Can you see it, Ange? My hair is cut. It's super cut. Okay. Because it was like this tall, remember? And I was like, I'm going to cut it. So, what else is there to do? Just cut your hair. Okay, Judy, I'm enjoying the essence and the energy of Mia come shining through. Oh, thank you, Judy. I appreciate that. You like it as stylish, right? I kind of wanted to keep this little, I wanted a little bit more hair here. It's kind of like that's like my thing. Okay. But just playing with it, just what else is there to do? All right. So I want to thank you, okay, for your time. If there are any final questions or comments, happy to answer them. Okay. I did provide my webinar link here. Yeah. Keep the height right here. Okay. Awesome. And, but it was like this tall, I don't know if you guys noticed, it was like, I was going to let it grow, and then I just couldn't do it. For those of you who've been following the Giant Experience Conference, I'll post that link here so you can check it out. Also, I think that you'll find that that's a good second step for those of you who do know me and have already seen the webinar to come to the conference. It's amazing. The conference is where you'll learn how to package your knowledge into a high ticket offer. But I'm not selling anything tonight. It's just a great resource. Check it out. See if it's a fit for you. All right. And in 2021, I'm thinking, what am I really going to be up to? I think that, looking at how I can be more present for myself, really, like in my body, with my body. I've made a lot of investments in my home gym. And so we've been super consistent, all of us, in really just working out, and really not just working out just to work out, but to really connect this physical part of myself and get rid of these 35 pounds that I gained. Okay. And just be really intentional and present with myself to give me the best of myself. So that's one of my biggest commitments in 2021. And I would say also to support other women. I would love to see more of my clients have multiple six-figure months. That always gets me stoked. That's like, it's just, if you're a coach, it's nothing like seeing your clients win and to exceed you, and to that's what I want. I just want to see that. And so I'm real excited about being able to do that. Help my clients win in many ways, multiple six-figure months, multiple millions plus, and 7 figures, 8 figures. I want to see it. I'm here for it. To see my clients, get signed to television shows, that's already happening. But, I'm just here for it. Like, I love it. It excites me. And it excites me because it creates a fire in our community with other women who realize that it's possible when other people win. They get to see what's possible, And that's the thing that really gets me super excited, for this upcoming year. Yeah, you're in process. It's in process for you right now, right? Like you're doing this. You'll be a success story for real, and already are. You're such an incredible inspiration in our community. You're an incredible implementer and action taker, and I appreciate you. I love it, and that's what I'm excited about in 2021. More women who are not making excuses, but stepping into it for themselves. We're ready to do the work right from day one, because that's what it takes. Okay, I love you. Okay, have a great and amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a good night. Bye.